Hello, welcome to The Laughter Effect, the podcast in which we celebrate and investigate the relationship with comedy and laughter of a very special guest. And today we have Ruthie Henshall. I'm going to start off with an easy one, double-headed question. How are you and where are you?
I am peachy.
That's
and-
fantastic.
And I am sitting in my house in Essex.
Essex.
I'm an Essex girl now.
Are you an Essex girl?
No, I'm a South East London girl.
South East London, which all the posh ones migrated to Essex anyway, didn't they?
Well, I was Suffolk, but but I'm North Essex, and it depends who you are as to whether I'm in Essex or on the Suffolk border.
Right, okay. Oh, it's like the old sort of call him Battersea Batersia and stuff like that, and Clapham Clam, that sort of thing. Yeah, we know.
Or Primark Pre-Marché.
I've never heard that one. I'm keeping that. That's brilliant. Anyway, well, thank you very much indeed for joining us. So, as I said, this is just, it's kind of like, I've ripped it off Desert Island Discs, basically. But instead of being sort of like talking about your troubled childhood or whatever, your education, blah, 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 we're just talking about comedy and laughter. What makes you laugh? So we're going to go back to the beginning. Do you remember, nobody remembers the first time they laughed, obviously, but do you remember the first people who made you laugh?
I think, to be quite honest, one of them was my sister Noel. She was so funny, and kind of brought me up as well, because my twin sisters are 9 years older than me. So basically, they kind of brought us up because mum and dad were working. And yeah, she used to do ridiculous things. And then, of course, it was people at school, because suddenly you find your tribe. And, it's not about, being in the house and parenting and all that sort of day-to-day grind. It was about, being irreverent.
And did you have a childish sense of humour? I remember we all used to laugh at people doing that, making fart noises. Yeah, that was the thing that but a lot of people, it lasted about a year. It was funny. For me, it's still funny. I'm 52. I'm 54. Sorry, I'm still laughing at that. But there were certain things that made you laugh. Was it what sort of stuff did your sister do that used to make you howl?
Hers was very physical. I love physical comedy, but I also love a bit of toilet humor. And if it is completely inappropriate, then that's wonderful too.
The more inappropriate, the better. Oh, this is going to be good. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy this. So, what about your parents? Your parents, obviously, you were busy working. What was the sense of humour like within your house?
My father had a great sense of humour. My mother had no sense of humour whatsoever. So they were so different. But then again, my father was a Conservative and my mother was Labour. They couldn't have been more different.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of comedy there.
No. Well, from the outside of the tent looking in, I suppose there was. It was a funny situation, but not if you're on the inside of the tent. No.
Yes, there should have been a sitcom about my parents. I mean, my father, he would do things like, I remember one day my mother used to get horribly drunk in the back room and start dancing to records. But if anyone came in the room, she would sit down immediately and pretend that nothing had happened, even though she was, doing Isadora Duncan. And so one day my father went out of the front door, round to the back of the house, and just sat on the back wall watching her.
That's brilliant.
And he was in fits because he said she would fall over furniture because she was so drunk and make it part of the dance. You know what I mean? And when he came in and told her what he'd done, she said, "You're weird. You're really weird." She was fuming, but that's the kind of thing I would do.
That's brilliant. Oh, that's amazing. That means, well, you said they literally could have made a sitcom about that situation. That would have been amazing. They probably did, actually.
There would have been one like that.
What kind of household were you with when it came to TV? Because I know people around sort of the 50s when they grow up. Some were sort of like an ITV household, or they were a BBC household. You know, you weren't
Oh,
allowed to watch
we were
ITV.
we were BBC.
Weird.
But saying that, when I was a child, because I'm 59, there were very few programs on. There was a little bit of children's television sort of during the day.
Between 4 and
Um,
5, wasn't it? Really, it was like an hour of
yes.
it or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Rhubarb and custard and all of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And Bill and Ben, the Flower Pot Men. There was all of that sort of thing, but only a short period. And there was, honestly, I can only remember about you know 2 channels, and then a third one came in. ITV came in, so and it was a really big deal on a Friday and a Saturday night to watch the television. Um, so but and we were one of the first families to get a VCR later on down the road, because my mother was a drama teacher in schools, but also a film and television teacher. She taught film and television
Oh wow.
studies. So she got it as part of her, part of her job. And you remember those things. They were huge and clunky, and you'd have to press play and record at the
Yeah.
same time. And you were lucky if your fingers could actually manage it,
And they
because
cost
they
a
were
bloody
so stiff.
fortune. They
A
cost an arm, and
fortune.
they're like thousands, literally, back in the sort of the 70s. It was incredible,
And
absolutely incredible.
one of the modules within this film and television studies was horror. This is for schools, right? So
Flipping
they did a
heck.
season of horror, and what they would do is they would watch the films, in the club, and then they'd have to go away and discuss them. Halloween was one of them. Halloween was one of them. And I remember my parents were away, and my twin sisters, when we were older, had to look after myself and my sister Abigail. And they were out.
Yeah,
They weren't looking after us. They were like, "You can look after yourself, can't you?" And I was like, "Yeah."
yeah.
Um, and I remember watching Halloween one evening when they were out, and I went to bed with a carving knife because I've never been so scared in my life.
That's brilliant. That's amazing. So, good Lord, how old were you?
About 14.
Christ on a bike. Bloody Nora.
We didn't see
Wow.
those kind of films, you know.
No,
But then,
no.
of course, there was, The Exorcist, which was really,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
scary.
yeah. That was very bloody Nora.
Still
So,
is.
Christ on a bike. So, yeah, but there's comedy there for a start. Yeah, of course there is. Not necessarily in the films, but in the situation of a 14-year-old. Yeah, it would be absolutely fine. Yeah,
Absolutely fine. Nicking
yeah,
everything out of the cupboards and
yeah,
watching Halloween.
yeah. Flipping heck. Great days. Halcyon days. um,
Yes.
Comedy then. So what were you watching? Obviously you were watching extreme horror, obviously, at 14. Um,
Clearly.
But what was you talk about that appointment to view, which was very, very important. That's something I do feel a bit sorry for the kids these days. They don't really, they'll never have that because we've got everything all the time, everywhere. Whereas we did have that. I know there's pluses and minuses. Neither's better. It's just different. But I do miss that. I really, really do. And you just don't get it. Everything is streaming. I watched Is It Race Across the World with my youngest, but we always say we're going to sit down and watch it. We never do because we'll just watch it whenever. You don't have to.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
what were you sitting down and watching? What was making you laugh?
I mean, I have to say, in response to what you just said, I miss those days, and I do think that this absolute swamp
Yeah.
of what we
Everything.
can see, it just
Yeah.
dilutes it all down. But
Yeah.
we were a family that watched things like the Two Ronnies, um, and Morecambe and Wise, and Dick Emery, and uh, oh my God, I've gone blank.
Benny
Benny
Hill. Benny
Benny
Hill.
Hill.
Yeah.
And now those kind of shows, I mean, they were just brilliant because there were so many sketches
Yeah.
that were hilarious. That money was spent on them, but these comedians were just. I I can't find anyone today to compare to that sort of comedy, which was innocent.
Yeah, it was. I think what was so clever about it, I'm not even sure whether they meant to do it, but a lot of the stuff with the two Ronnies, well, all of them, it was obviously it was family entertainment, but it wasn't written for children. It was written for adults. But even if you didn't necessarily understand it, you would find something within that sketch or within that monologue, even by Ronnie Corbett, that would make you laugh, or you just laugh because everyone else was laughing. It was family entertainment.
It was completely, and for example, the Phantom Raspberry Blower of Old London Town. I mean, they only had to make the noise,
Yeah.
and we were in fits
Yeah.
because it was a fart,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it was a fart noise, just brilliant. And do you remember that wonderful sketch with Morecambe and Wise, where they were, it was the breakfast and the
Yeah.
toast popped up.
Yeah. To the stripper. Yeah,
Yes.
to the stripper. Genius.
Just genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that they were always in bed together.
Yeah.
They slept together, but they were blokes sleeping together. It was so funny.
There was a famous story about that. Eric Morecambe, at first, when it was suggested by, I think, Ernest Maxim, the director, he was like, absolutely not. He was just like, that crosses the line. I'm not doing that. And he just said, well, Laurel and Hardy did it. And he was like, oh, all right then. Okay. So if it was good enough for them, because obviously it went way back. We talk about Morecambe and Wise, but Laurel and Hardy were doing it in the 30s. But yeah, and there's that famous joke where the ambulance goes past.
Yes,
and he says, "Yeah,
yes.
and that he's not going to sell much ice cream going at that speed." If you think about it, it's ridiculous because ambulances sound nothing like ice cream mans, etc. But it's Eric Morecambe. It's as much to do with the people who are saying it as it is the actual joke itself. It's just so. But it's Eric Morecambe. It's somebody who we all knew and loved, was in our living rooms every Saturday evening for years and years and years. So it's joyous. I do miss that. Yeah, I do miss that.
I do, and I have to say I do have a problem with all this comedy. I don't think they've had that situation, but all the comedy that now can't be played because it's considered offensive. That was of its time, and I understand that it can be offensive to people, but we can choose not to watch it.
Exactly.
So
or you can always press the stop button.
You could always say, I find this offensive.
Yeah.
And, humor is humor. And if it is your sense of humor, you can watch it. If it isn't, don't.
Yeah. If it's blatantly offensive, if it's saying certain words or whatever, then obviously everybody, of course. But certain things like Benny Hill. I was talking to Stuart before about this, the fact that there was this sort of period from the, I think, late 80s, for about 20 years, where you weren't allowed to mention Benny Hill's name, for God's sake. He was like, Christ on a bike. He was like the Antichrist. Whereas now, what's one of the good things about social media is that people are putting back, and I do it a lot, people are just playing all this old comedy, Dave Allen, taking the piss out the church, etc.
Yes.
Benny Hill being saucy or whatever, etc. We just had Chizzy Akadolu on before, who's a black lady, and she was saying she used to watch Love Thy Neighbour. She said, I used to watch Love Thy Neighbour. But you said I can't. She said I would love to go back to watching it. I'm not saying you should put Love Thy Neighbour on TV, but people can watch it, and I think that it's starting to change now, where if you want to watch something like that, you can. There isn't this sort of, oh my God, you can't do that. Actually, you can if you want.
Yes, but you have to search certain places for them because,
it's all on YouTube.
The streaming stations, it's all correct.
Oh, Carry On Films, right? So ITV3, ITV3, they censor Carry On films. If you go onto their ITV streaming services, you go any Carry On film, they chop the hell out of them. Why? What are they saving us from ourselves? I mean, what the hell is going on? It's just Carry On films, for God's sake.
We're doing far worse than that.
Exactly.
In our own lives.
I know. It's bonkers. It's bonkers. Were you a fan of the Carry-Ons?
I loved them.
Yeah.
I loved them. And I got to work with Jim Dale years and years later.
Wow. Was that in Barnum?
It was in Oliver at the
wow.
Palladium.
Yeah.
And he was brilliant because his physical comedy was so great, and you can see all of that in the Carry On films, even though he usually played the male good-looking lead. He was brilliant at physical comedy, and so his Fagin was, to me, second to none of the ones that I worked with, because he had it all. And I remember, I mean, I know this is about comedy, but he's the one who taught me about Doctor Theatre, which is however you're feeling, you come in and you feel differently at the end of that show, whether it's mental or, unless you physically can't do it. But because he lost his daughter through cancer and he never missed a show. And I remember saying to him, why are you here? And he said, because it's the only 2.5 hours I don't have to think about that. And I thought, you're right.
Wow.
It is like that.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in that. But anyway, and I would go in and say, oh my God, tell me about the Carry On films. They were so brilliant. And he said they all laughed so much through these things that he never will understand how they got them filmed. How they actually got a film made.
Well, the one where in Carry On Doctor, where he goes, or Carry On Doctor, again Doctor, I think, when he goes down the stairs on the trolley, a very famous scene. He did that. He used to do all his own stunts.
Yes,
so I think
and
he's a registered stuntman or something like that, or he's a member of some society. But he's an incredible human being, Jim, because he started off as a pop star. He was a huge pop star in the late 50s. He's done everything.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, started off as a pop star, and then he was the one he narrated all the Harry Potter books over in, Stephen Fry did them over here. He narrated them over in the States. I mean, he's 90-something now. He's in his early 90s. He can do anything. He's incredible.
The other one who was like that, of course, was Some Mothers Do Have 'Em, Michael Crawford.
Wow.
And do you remember when he did a whole huge stunt, and he did all his own stunts. He did
was it the roller skate one?
The roller skate one.
Yeah. Hanging on to.
How he didn't die.
Yeah. That was bonkers.
That was bonkers.
Yeah. And he was probably getting paid bugger all as well, because it was in those days, the sets were threadbare. To say there was never that budget that went. Comedy never got the budget that drama did. It was sort of there you go. There's £6. There's a £10 postal order. Go and make a series. Absolutely amazing.
And it's not really changed much, because it's now a comedian on a stage.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
And we'll just film it. I mean, I know there are other ones, but Friends, the comedy within that, and the fact that you really cared for these people. You wanted to be one of their friends, and you wanted to be living next door to Michael Crawford in Some Mothers Do Have 'Em, because you knew that your day would be a whole lot funnier.
He had to be the most impersonated sitcom character of all time. It was sort of like where please don't do Frank Spencer, for God's sake. Everybody did.
Everyone. And so when he suddenly popped up as the Phantom in Phantom of the Opera, it was like, hang on a minute. And then, he can sing, and he's in a musical. And then you thought, oh, of course, because he was in Hello, Dolly. And, he was a musical man. We just knew him as, or I did, as Some Mothers Do Have 'Em.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never heard a bad word about him. He's supposed to be the same as Jim Dale. He's supposed to be such a nice guy, and I hope that's the case.
I haven't heard a bad thing about him
No,
either.
no, it's supposed to be a really, really good egg. It's but that sort of physical comedy. Comedy these days, there's a lot of stuff is stand up, or it's little skits that you get, like 3-minute skits, etc., etc. I do think we're kind of missing. Sitcom has gone by the wayside a bit. You get Modern Family, you get the odd one that pops up like the American Office, which I think is fantastic. But it is sort of, but I suppose they're a lot more expensive. You say it's a lot cheaper just to stick somebody on the stage with a camera, isn't it?
Yeah, and just and do their stand up, which some of them are really brilliant.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I remember years ago, I ran the tape out of Eddie Murphy's Raw. I thought he was hilarious. And then the other one that I did recently was Lee Mack, who I found very funny.
Yeah, he's
And
very
what
clever.
it is as soon as someone is funny,
Yeah.
I find them incredibly sexy.
Yeah. Laughing you into bed, that's the phrase, isn't it?
That's the phrase. And
Yeah.
and you really can. It's that easy.
There's a queue going on the side there. Okay, yeah, just put your name down. Yeah, and your favourite joke and your name. Yeah, absolutely. So, when you did stage school, obviously you are best known for musicals. Has comedy has there been it must be comedy in roles you've played, etc. Is it comedy something you've studied and you played yourself?
I was the comedy girl at college. If
Right.
there was a comedy role to play, Ruthie did it.
Right. Okay.
And so what was fascinating was coming out into the business and suddenly being given all the tragic roles.
Yeah.
The pinafore parts,
Yeah.
it was suddenly a completely different thing. I remember one of my friends at college coming back, he'd seen Les Mis, and he came back and he said, Ruthie, I've just seen this amazing musical and there's a phenomenal part in it for you. And it was Madame Thénardier he was talking about. He wasn't talking about Fontaine. So that's how I was seen.
Oh,
And
bloody
so,
hell.
and my career completely hasn't gone that way. But I love comedy.
So you're almost a frustrated comedian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you give me a funny script and I've learnt it well enough, I know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I do know what to do with it.
And that's instinctive.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know the timing. It's like there's a particularly funny bit in Cabaret that needs timing, and the girl that's in it now and in this particular bit just doesn't have the timing. I can't understand, and I've tried to talk her through it and go, it needs to be bam 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 bam, and she doesn't understand it. And so I think you've either got that timing thing or you haven't, and it's instinctively in you, or it's not.
Yeah, it is. It is. Certain people like Tommy Cooper. I mean, there are so many. Eric Morecambe, etc. I don't know if you've ever seen that one where they've got Francis Matthews there, and he just catches the camera and he turns around and he smiles, and then this slowly but surely they all do the same thing.
Yes.
That's timing, because it's exactly, they do it exactly at the right time. But one of the jokes that somebody once said to me, he said, ask me what the most, so right, I'll say to you, ask me what the most important thing about comedy is. Go on, ask me.
What is the most
Timing.
important thing about comedy?
And the first time I heard that, I had that joke played on me, I pissed myself. It was the funniest thing ever. It kept me going for days. It really, really did. So even jokes about comedy timing. But it's something you cannot learn. It's impossible to learn.
Absolutely. And I mean, musical theatre is a really funny environment backstage. And we have a guy who makes it his mission to tell a joke every single night. And he's really good at it. He's really, really good at it. I mean, some of the jokes that go right over my head because he makes them up.
Right.
Um, but musical theatre backstage makes me laugh every single night. And the awful thing about that is I'm also a giggler on stage.
Right. I was going to
I
ask
ha-
if you were a giggler. You are. Oh, you're a
I
corpse
have
song.
no, yeah,
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
I have,
Okay.
it's like I've got no, um, what's the word I'm looking for? I
Filter.
just, no, I
All
can't
right. So you got
stop.
no, you
It's
just can't. Yeah. Yeah. Control.
a control.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much I try. The only thing that I've learnt to be able to do is to dig my nails into my palms as hard as I can. Um, but I have laughed in every single show, and but I remember being in Chicago, and I fell about one night over something, and of course, look, we try not to let the audience see in that
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
I tell you who is a really bad one as well as Judi Dench. But anyway, um,
Dentures.
and and she
Yeah.
is
Mm.
known for it.
Yeah.
But somebody twinkles at you, and I'm gone. And I remember after this particular performance, the resident director coming back, and he went, "Ruthie, I had friends in this afternoon," and he said, and they are big fans of yours, but they were quite annoyed at seeing you uh, mucking around on stage, and it really hit me that
Oh.
you know, oh, I didn't realize I could be seen in that way, and so I am very careful. I never try to make other people laugh. Um, but if there is a funny situation, I have no control whatsoever, and you might as well stop the show.
And you get, is this something that gets worse as you get older?
Yes,
Probably.
yes.
Ooh, bloody
Um,
hell.
uh, the, I mean, let me give you an example. Years ago, when I was in She Loves Me with John Gordon Sinclair, who is one of the funniest men I've ever met. He used to make it his mission to make me laugh every day. And we were in rehearsals, and there was a particular bit where he had to come up and sort of we didn't we recognized each other for the first time and in this show. And in rehearsals, he suddenly stood there, pulled up his top, and underneath he had a shirt that said, "I don't believe it." From
Or one foot in the
that,
grave.
yes, from
Yeah,
One
yeah,
Foot in the Grave.
yeah.
And I couldn't get myself together for 10 minutes. And then every time we came to that scene, I could not get through it because
That's
all I
brilliant.
had was this
Yeah, yeah,
visual,
yeah, yeah.
to the point where we did the dress rehearsal before the first preview. And I lost it again. And I heard the assistant choreographer in the stalls go, "Oh, for sake!" And then the director came round afterwards and said to me, "Look, Ruthie, if I don't care about you, I don't care about the show." And that was really sobering to me. But I needed that sobering
Yeah, yeah,
speech
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
to get over it.
yeah.
And yeah, so that's how bad I am.
So how well does the masochism work? You sort of like, the self-inflicted pain. How well does that work? Does it
Oh,
does it help you gain a bit of clarity, bit of control?
yes. I mean,
Yeah.
I have, big indentations afterwards
Uh,
because I'm doing it so hard.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, or I have to try and think dark thoughts, dark thoughts, dark thoughts,
Yeah, yeah.
something that really has upset me, because otherwise
You
I'm a
go.
goner.
You go. That's great. Emma Thompson. I was doing Richard Breyer's authorized biography. I was writing that a few years ago, and Emma Thompson had been on tour, on a world tour. He was. It was Lear. She was playing the fool. He was playing Lear, and he was very. I think they were in Japan or somewhere, and his dog, who he was very very fond of, had just had to have his balls cut off. and he was really, really upset because he couldn't be there to hold his paw. He was like really, really upset. So for a laugh, in the hovel on stage, she hung up a pair of plasticine balls with a note saying, "Thanks for nothing," with a paw print there. And so when he went into the hovel, he's supposed to come back out. I forget which scene it was, and he was in there for about 20 minutes. He just couldn't come out. So I just thought that was great. Pardon my French. Sorry, Stuart. But yeah.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
That's the kind of shit I live for. That's the thing about this environment. If the politically correct police came into the environment that I'm in,
the genre would disappear.
There are certain things, like you say, certain words and that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is so filthy, irreverent. It is so not correct, and I love that. That we can make each other laugh, and it. I mean, even the physical thing, I think that breaks down barriers, because as dancers, we are used to being handled and touched, and nobody is touching each other inappropriately.
No.
But you are cuddling each other, second day of rehearsals, and you're snogging someone on stage, third day of rehearsals. And so it's a very... your whole job is very different to, being in an office round the water cooler.
Yeah. So it's almost necessary. It has to be for you to be able to go about what you do. It needs to be inhibitions and sort of,
because you're in the wings.
Everything needs to go out the
naked.
window. Yeah.
Yes, you're in the wings naked, changing a 35-second change or something. And that is, or the sound guy has his hands down your backside to try and change batteries in a mic that have gone, or fix a mic. So you cannot be shy.
Musical theatre is there's a lot of comedy in the genre of musical theatre. So it's kind of, everybody is expected to laugh and probably does laugh. Has to.
Yes, I remember being in Crazy for You all those years ago, and my friend was on a ladder in the wings doing a levitating act with a big sheet over him, and it was brilliant, and I was laughing away. And I remember vividly that moment of clarity, going, this is what I do for a living. I get to laugh every single day, which is why I miss being in a show when I am not in a show, because the company, I love looking after a company, I love being a part of a company, but I love making people laugh, and I love being made to laugh. Otherwise, I become quite an isolator.
So, are you a frustrated comedian? Is it something you make people laugh? Of course you do, and it is a small part of what you do on stage. It's part of it. But is it something you'd like to do exclusively for a bit? See what happens.
Oh, I would love to. I mean, to be part of a sitcom or something like that. Or one of the ones on Catherine Tate, or another one that, of course, I will never be able to do is Victoria Wood.
Victoria Wood,
Victoria Wood, and all the sketches with Julie Walters and all the people that they had on
Celia Imrie,
Duncan
Preston,
Yes, they were brilliant, and it was brilliant material. If the material is good, it's easy. And that was genius. Victoria Wood is seen on TV.
I think one of the most underused, brilliant partnerships on that programme, or any programme, was Patricia Routledge doing Kitty. Obviously, the monologues, which was, I suppose, perhaps a precursor to Hyacinth Bouquet. Kitty was infinitely funnier. It was sort of like Alan Bennett. It was Alan Bennett-esque. Absolutely amazing. And I think she only did 5 or 6. Wasn't on every episode. It's kind of one of those Monty Python ones, only 12 episodes or whatever. But Kitty, I mean, again, there was so little of it, but so quotable. So quotable.
When her TV broke and, the man came round and he waggled me Ariel and Wolfie Gypsy Creams, but that's a comprehensive system for you.
Now, where does that come from? Where does that come from? There's one line in Dinner Ladies, which I think is the best one-liner. Anna Reid comes up to Duncan, and they're at a party, and she says, "Breathe in. Can you smell my Charlie?" Which I just thought, my mum used to wear Charlie, and obviously I didn't know it was potentially a slang term for a foo-foo, but it is now, and because you got it immediately. And I just thought, if I'd written that line, I'd go and live on an island somewhere. I'd just retire. You can't better that.
I know.
Absolutely
you'd be
amazing.
so pleased with yourself, wouldn't you?
God, game, set, and match. Victoria Wood.
But the other one is, when you think about, are you being served? And oh, my pussy.
My pussy.
And having the camp man and it was just wonderful comedy.
Bringing that back now with people like Alan Carr. So that again, but the camp thing was, you can't do that. It's, I've never met a gay person in my life who has ever taken any kind of offence with stuff like, are you being served? Absolutely bloody not.
No.
No. And again, but I remember what was it? When Donald Trump came out with that, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, and somebody did a picture of Mrs. Slocum says, "No one's eating my pussy," which I thought was absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna get that printed out. I'm gonna get it framed, put it in my toilet. Actually, I thought that was amazing. No one's eating my pussy.
Please get me a copy.
I'll send it to you. And it's actually done really, really well. There you go. Oh no, that's wonderful. This is one of the questions I sent you. Has a sense of humour ever helped you through a difficult time? A lot of people I've spoken to, a lot of them say COVID, because they'll say, I just started watching this one particular comedy show going through COVID with Modern Family or whatever, and it kind of, is there anything that springs to mind?
Well, I have to say, and I think everybody has been through, a dark time at some point. And it was I don't even know what the reason, there was no reason for it, but I just got quite depressed. And I started watching dark things, because you start listening to, music that's sad and all of that. Actually, I didn't even want to listen to music. And then I realized that I was almost taking myself down, even further into the pit. And so I started watching comedy films, and it was like I noticed the difference. I noticed the difference in my mood, that at least there was a few hours a day where I forgot that I was sad. And, and I realized at that point that I needed to start filling myself with the good and not sit in the depression. Lots of people say, just feel your feelings and all of that. But I think sometimes it's not about that. It's about how can I fill the tank with gas? So that I can go.
Yeah. And what sort of stuff were you watching? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I would pick a comedy film. Something like Bridesmaids, or anything with Melissa McCarthy used to make me laugh, because you just know she's
fantastic.
Riffing.
Yeah,
she's riffing.
Yeah, she's so funny, that woman. She really is.
Yeah.
We talked about this with a few people about funny women, because it was until not that long ago there was this sort of erroneous pile of crap going around that women aren't funny. women, and you still get idiots saying it now. Obviously, we've just proven it with Victoria Wood, absolute codswallop. Are you a fan of people like Joyce Grenfell and people like that? What women make you
Oh,
laugh?
yes, but it was very much because she was a little bit before my time.
Ah,
Um, it was the Catherine Tates,
yeah,
it's the Victoria Woods. It was you know, Patricia Routledge. It was, you know, that these women are brilliant. Julie Walters.
yeah,
She can
yeah,
make anything funny,
yeah.
and it's not necessarily about stand-up
No,
comedy. It's what they can do with a character as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
um, and that is brilliant in
Sorry.
itself.
I'm just laughing because I'm just thinking about Dinner Ladies, about the fart jokes with Julie Walters about the mother who used to just sort of like, again, but absolutely, it was a fart joke. Julie Walters could turn a fart joke. Julie Walters and Victoria Wood could turn a simple fart joke into a scene and something extraordinarily funny. Timing, basically. Yeah,
Completely, as we
yeah,
were saying, timing.
yeah,
So yes, and Catherine Tate I love because she's always got a character, and these you know, alright, and you know, the am I bothered? Am I bothered? You know, to get the and Gran, and you know, she can inhabit any character
yeah. It's
because she's an
observational.
actress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very much observational. It's like a nan. Everybody's got a nan, etc., etc. But I remember we was talking to Barry Cryer about Victoria Wood, and he was saying that they tried on "I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue," you know, on Radio 4 to get her on for ages and ages, and she'd always said no. And the reason she said no is because she was going to be the first woman. And she said the fact that I'm going to be the first woman who's been on this show in God knows how many. So I think a lot of it is down to opportunity. I think
Yes.
that one of the good things about the fact that you literally have to just put somebody on the stage with a microphone, and you know it's a lot cheaper than stand up. Obviously, a lot more people can get involved, and I must follow at least 200 women on Instagram, stand up comics who are absolutely hilarious. They really,
Yes.
really are. So things are really, and some of the characters in Modern Family, some of the female characters in The Office, the American Office, which I adore, Parks and Recreation. I think things are really even Steven these days.
I completely agree. And you know, there is something there's been a real shift anyway, hasn't there? You
Yeah,
know,
and there
I
needed to be.
often feel I often feel sorry for men because they don't have the resources that we have because as women, be, because we've written all the books for it, and you know,
Exactly.
we all talk about it, and it's just out there.
But you're only
Um,
as good as the material you have in whatever, and you got the material and
yeah,
use it. Brilliant.
and men are so easy to take the piss out of.
Yeah, of
You
course
know,
we are.
you're wide open for it. And but it's not as funny or not as acceptable to do the same to the women,
No, no,
which
but one of the reasons it's so funny is because with regards to women take the piss out of men is because a lot of men can't take it, and the fact that they can't take it makes it even funnier because you know
yeah,
it's getting a rise.
yeah,
Yeah.
and um, I did an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm when I was
Oh wow.
in the States, and that was improvised. There was you know, every single episode was improvised, which was it was a joy to do. And playing opposite me was Ricky Gervais.
Bloody hell.
He, yeah, he was doing,
Wow.
and um, um, the best day I had was here. We were just in the back of a scene in a restaurant, and he made me. I mean, I had to really bring the volume down because he was making me howl with laughter. But it was a brilliant job to do because it was improvised, and there would be different things said all the time, and they would take the best of it. So you would, it was the filming was far longer than because there was no script. But Ricky Gervais is far funnier when he's got a script. When he's got a script and off, than when he just riffs and improvises on the on Curb Your Enthusiasm. It was really interesting, because I thought that that The Office was improvised, but of course it wasn't. It was scripted.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that.
Right.
So he's really good. He does his stand up. He does, which is wonderful. And The Office and Life. What was the
Afterlife?
Afterlife was
And Derek
brilliant
as well. Yeah. And he obviously destroys actors at the Golden Globes for 7 minutes, which is
God.
legendary.
I would. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that.
No, you wouldn't, would you? No.
But yeah, it was very different seeing him riffing. That is an art in itself.
Yeah.
And the main players on Curb Your Enthusiasm were just so good at it.
Yeah.
And could say, and I learned it was like it was like going to comedy school for a week.
Yeah.
Just watching them do what they did.
They have a different approach to comedy, don't they, the Americans? I mean, The Office, the English Office, I found there are moments in it that are brilliant, but it was too cringe for me. There was so much about I can't watch it. Whereas in America, so I love the American Office. I think the American Office is a work of genius, or at least the first, what was it? There's probably about 50 series. But the way they approach it, we'll have 6. We'll, painstakingly make 6 episodes. They'll get a team together and they'll chuck out 25 in one series. And I must admit, if it's good, I love that. I really do. I mean, I know the Fawlty Towers thing, there's only 12, isn't it fantastic? Same as Phoenix Nights, etc. But if the first 2 or 3 series of the American Office and Modern Family as well, I think there's some genius lines in there. And if that was restricted to 6 episodes, why? I'd put a team in there. Get them out. I love it.
Oh, totally agree.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works better because you're on a roll as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I could not watch the English Office.
Yeah.
My sister Noel said to me, she said, "You've got to watch The Office. It's hilarious." And I watched a couple of episodes, and I was like, "No, this is just too much for me."
It's painful.
It's
too
much.
painful. Yeah. It really, really is. You want the ground to swallow him up. And you is just no. It's
Steve Carell is very different. You don't feel
a totally different approach. Different approach. Yeah, it really, really is. And I think Dwight Schrute is one of the greatest sitcom characters of all time. I really do. Amazing. But no, the Americans. Americans again a completely different approach. But I think it's. They always talk about the British being extremely funny, or British humour and this, that and the other. I think American humour's up there. It really is. But I think certainly with regards to writing, when you meet Americans face to face, in my experience, I don't really, maybe it's just me, I haven't really met that many funny Americans. Maybe it's just me. I really haven't. But yeah, they can create these amazing comedy series, and they can, people like Dave Chappelle, etc. They're huge in the comedy world. But as a people, I don't know. They have problems with sarcasm and irony, etc.
And swearing.
And swear. I'm going to get shot for this. I know I am. But yeah, just in my own experience, the sarcasm just seems to go straight over their heads.
Well, an English person, which who shall remain nameless, was over doing a show in on Broadway, and he and I often do this. I always say to like companies, I'm like, you're all, you know, so talented, and we'll be having a meeting or something, and I love you all, whatever I'm saying that's lovely to them, and then I always finish it off by saying, but you're all a bunch of C. Um, and so I love the word. I think it's brilliant. But if you say it in America,
Yeah.
it is like you have said,
Yeah.
it's the worst thing you can say. And this guy said what I say to the company. He'd gone over there and he said, I'm so happy to be here, blah, blah, blah. And he said, but you're all a bunch of... And he got a warning letter.
Did he?
Yes, he got a warning letter from the company, or from the producers saying, if you come out with that word again, we will have to terminate your contract. It's absolutely not acceptable. So we are very different. It's the same with audiences, James, that when I first went over and performed on Broadway, I was like, oh my goodness, what the difference, because they are very loud and it's all demonstrative and out there, and we're
Yeah.
much more sort of reserved and jolly good, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we're just different as cultures.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very obvious in theatre, TV, and humor.
I've noticed that. I did a theatre tour with a guy called Gunter Steiner, who I've written books with, who was in Formula One, and we went around Australia and Scandinavia and America and doing like theatre tours where we talk about his life and the reaction, like in Australia, they laugh at absolutely anything. It was totally different. There was this joke. An Australian told me this joke. What's the difference between Australia and a pot of yogurt? If you leave a pot of yogurt in the sun for 300 years, it'll develop a culture. That was told to me by an Australian. I thought that's brilliant. But they would laugh and they'd heckle you, they'd shout things out, and absolutely amazing. And then you do one in the north of England, same like Liverpool, bloody hell. Surrey, go to Surrey, which sold out, what was it, 3 nights at the G Live. Lovely people, but sit on your hands. They were so sort of English, incredibly English.
Yes.
But,
yes.
Maybe they were laughing internally, but they certainly weren't laughing outwardly. It was really bizarre, very strange. Then you go to Scandinavia, and they're worse than the Australians. They just laugh at anything and everything. Really strange.
It is,
Yeah.
It's just a culture thing, and it's you sort of coming back to England. It was like, oh, we'll have to get used to
Laughing.
two dykes and a whippet, and
Where's your favourite place? You've toured the world. Your favourite theatre, your favourite place to go, where you've got a good audience, you've got a good, not a warm hand on your entrance, so to speak.
Oh,
That
you
old
mean
one.
you mean country or theatre? The best theatre that I played for people loving theatre was actually the Theatre Royal Haymarket,
Right.
because it doesn't really have long runs, and it's almost like a national, as in it's all theatre goers who love the theatre, so they are up for anything.
Captive audience. Yeah.
Yes. I'll tell you who are the strangest is being in Japan, because they have this way of being that they don't really clap much after every number, because it's a respect thing. They will go mad at the end, but they do not want to disturb you, and they want to absolutely concentrate, and they won't come round to the stage door after for autographs or anything like that because it's disturbing you.
Wow.
So it's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Whereas I've just been to China, they go mad and they bring, and the same with the Japanese, but gifts. And the Chinese is so generous, but it's all landfill. You know, you kind of
right.
think, oh my goodness, it's all soft toys, and that they've got that culture, and you think, oh no, this is just, you know, you look in the shops and it's just the amount
plastic
of
crap.
yes.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should just give you money, throw money or chocolates, you know, that sort of thing. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. We'll finish off. We're going to do, rip this off Desert Island Discs. We're not going to go to a desert island. We're going to go to the moon. You can take one person, famous, one person from your personal life who are going to make you laugh with the specific instruction to make you laugh. And you can take one television program or film. What's it going to be? Who's it going to be? What's it going to be?
I would take... Can I take somebody who's dead?
Of course you can.
Right, I want Victoria Wood.
Yeah, good.
I want... Oh, no, would I though? Just because maybe I would want Eric Morecambe.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm not sure. You see, Victoria Wood, I think, like when they were doing Dinner Ladies, I've heard all sorts of, apparently it was a very, very difficult series to make because I think she, you know, again, not necessarily a tortured genius, but had a very, very serious side to it, as a lot of very, very funny people do. Whereas Eric Morecambe, Eric was never off.
Yes.
That's the only problem you'd have with Eric Morecambe. If you did fancy a quiet 10 minutes, you wouldn't get it. But it's better than being the other way around. I'd soon have somebody who was always on.
What about Alan Carr?
Oh, Christ, it'd be exhausting, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Have you seen that series about his young life?
No.
Honestly, I forget what it's called. It's absolutely amazing. Where this kid plays him, and he pops up in it, sort of narrating his young life, and because his dad was a football manager for Northampton Town, which is just really, but it's absolutely amazing. I'll send you a link to it. It's hilarious. It really is.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's one of the best new shows I've seen in a long time. Hopefully they're going to make another, but that'd be a good one. So Alan Carr or Eric Morecambe, they can be on rotation.
Yes,
okay.
They can swip and swap.
Yeah. So non-famous person.
I would take my friend Stephen Mear, he's a choreographer, but I have done many jobs with him, and he is one of the funniest people I know. He's got that gay wit that straight people don't have. They can throw out a one-liner that will be... If a man said it to me, a straight man said it to me, I'd be so offended. But you just can't be because he's gay. You can get away with anything.
I've got an example, right? When I was at Wyndham's, there was a company manager, I forget his name. I think the show was Another Time, Ronald Harwood, Janet Sussman, Albert Finney. And if you go from the stalls to backstage at Wyndham's, there's a little corridor, and there was a hole in the wall, don't know, and somebody had painted it gold. And this company manager was walking past, and he just pointed and said, Queen Midas. This big gold hole, which I thought at the time was absolutely hilarious. But he said it in such a, Queen Midas. Thought it was fantastic. So, but they could get but
they can get away with it. It's just brilliant.
Exactly. Yeah. It is. And TV show or film?
I would... do you know what I think I would take is Porridge.
Oh, where did that come from? Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, good call. Very, very good call. Do you have a favourite episode? I like the night in, where it's just the two of them on the bunks or whatever. I'm a bit of a nerd though when it comes to Porridge, I'm afraid. But Biggins is good in that.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Ronnie Barker is, just brilliant in it. Just all the characters. And I would never get bored of it. I could watch it again and again and again.
There are certain ones I can watch. I can watch Rising Damp on a loop, because Rossiter was a genius in that. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. I think Ronnie Barker, I'm surprised, but you're surprised by the amount of people who don't know how involved he was in the writing of like the two Ronnies, like all the wordplay sketches, etc. that he wrote. Also with Open All Hours, the only thing when I was a kid that made me laugh was the stutter, and that was down to him. He was the one who actually sort of said, this guy needs a stutter. I mean, that he could do no wrong, Ronnie Barker.
No,
He just
no.
had everything. That good
Yes.
call. So Porridge, Alan Carr, Eric Morecambe, and your mate
Yeah.
Stephen.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I don't know whether I said this, but I knew Ronnie Corbett, and I spent a bit of time with him because his daughter, one of his daughters, was a friend of mine.
Yeah,
And what a lovely man!
really.
And I sang at his funeral, and his wife gave a few people a brooch, and it's his glasses.
Oh, fantastic.
So yes, and I absolutely cherish that.
Oh, I bet. Oh, God, he was wonderful. One of my favourite things was Sorry. I used to love Sorry, which was his sitcom, you know, in Timothy Lumsden. With
I don't remember that too well.
the overprotective mother, but I think it was wonderful. And he started off as a comedian for Danny LaRue back in the 60s. In Danny LaRue's. Anyway, we could go on for hours, couldn't we? We can't.
know.
Though. Ruthie, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so grateful. It's been great fun.
Pleasure.
All right, Minnie. But
Pleasure.
we'll speak to you
Thank
soon.
you for having me.
Take care. Bye bye.